All right, hey y'all. Looks like it's going so far. I'm hoping this doesn't lag tonight because I did such a great job of setting this up. So I'm hoping that it doesn't fail me now. Okay, it says excellent condition. I'm looking at the streaming portion, and I'm also live on Facebook as well. All right, so for all you guys, wherever you guys are seeing me at, welcome, welcome. This is Thursday evening. On Thursday nights, we host our photography mistakes live, which is where basically you'll see me making some mistakes, right? And the intention for this clip, or fuck that, the intention for this video and this series is so that way you guys can get used to just being in front of your camera and just trying out different things. So you're not having to feel as if it's a struggle. You can get over your anxieties before your shoots. You don't have to wait for a model to be in front of you to be able to really make something happen. You can be that model, right? And I will say, because I have been doing this, I have seen a lot of awesome things when it comes to some of the work that I've already put out. If I can show that to you right quick, I'll actually open up my latest gallery so you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. And this should be live. Let me go ahead and make sure this is public. Alright, looks like it's live for the most part. Alright, so now I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about right quick. Right, so we'll go to my OBS. If you guys are on my Facebook Live, make sure that you go to my YouTube link. It is actually the featured link on this page right here. So make sure that you guys are going to that so you guys can keep up with what I got going on. So now, if I open up a tab here and I'll sign in right quick, and then I'll open up another capture window, which should be that one. So I'm gonna show you guys a couple of my latest shots. All right, and this is for me just doing better with my self portraits and ultimately it translating into my photography work. All right, and here we go. All right, let's see. Is it gonna show? There we go. There we go. And as you can see right here, this is my latest, some of my latest shoots, and I will go to the ones that I actually just finished up here, and you can get an idea of what that looks like so far. Open that up. Alright, and these are some of the stuff that I've done so far, right? And I got others as well, but don't want to give you guys too much because these are for the clients and stuff. But nonetheless, you guys are getting an idea of what that consists of. Alright, so if I go here, show you guys that one. Boom. Right? So work that I've done recently, like recently. So now the intention for tonight is actually going to be working on some bokeh looks. Let me bring this down some. Bokeh is when you'll have the deceptive field, right? Having that focus of the background being blurred out or the foreground being blurred out intentionally, and that's for an effect, right? Now the reason why I'm holding on to this is because I need to plug in my camera. I just haven't done it yet, so I'm about to do that right quick. And ultimately, what I'm going to use for the bokeh look, and I actually did this in one of my past shoots, and it came out really, really nice. You can use your kit lens, I believe, but in my opinion, it's best if you use a prime lens. Prime lens is obviously going to be where it automatically has the set aperture. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in right quick. I'm going to plug this in here so you guys can see this right here. Like you guys can't see a whole lot, but boom, just like that. I'll stretch that out. And then of course I got my speed light. Alright. So as you guys know, I use my speed light almost every time I do these sessions. If I'm not using my speed light, I'm using my $20 continuous light. Right? And that is definitely great for when it comes to pictures, but mostly if I'm using my prime lens. But it's also great if I am utilizing like the prime lens would be for the $20. But it's also great when I cut for my videos too. That's what I was gonna say. For the videos. So right now I am going to put this inside my softbox, in the back of my softbox. You guys know I rock this Godox softbox right here. Alright, Godox is a really great company. As you guys already know, you see it everywhere. And I'm just gonna insert it back here. Alright, and I'm just gonna make sure that it is tight. Like so. Boom. So now we attached. Okay? And of course, make sure that it's turned on. I will turn on in a second because I want to get my trigger. Alright, here's my trigger. Now, I will give you guys some advice when it comes to these triggers. At least for this one, this particular Godox trigger. Now, keep in mind, I have certain types of batteries that I use when it comes to these, the speed light and the trigger. Both of them use these same type of batteries. These are the EBLs. Alright, as you can see, the EBLs. Now, the thing is with this is that these do not hold the best of charge. Now, they're great in the speed light. Like, if I just use it on speed light, I'm good for the whole shoot. But for whatever reason, and not even for whatever reason, I know why. It's because this is using up so much power. This little thing right here, this trigger, this little thing right here is using up so much power that if I have it, even if I have it at 1/32 for the as far as the power, it does pretty well. But of course, I have to amplify the light other places, right? But if I decide that I want to increase it, if I get to 1/8 and I use it for like I'll say 10 pictures, that's when it dies. I gotta switch them out again. So I am coming to that realization that I may have to go ahead and get that $70 lights, $70 batteries just for this. But that'll be an investment that I'll make later on. I'm actually been working on doing better with budgeting, so I can't just buy everything out of whim. So I gotta make sure that it makes sense. So far, for right now, I do have 16 of these batteries, and they have 2 charging blocks. So I just switch them out when I need to. So that way I'm not stressing it. But over time, with the more clients that I get, I will invest in another brand new thing of batteries because that's irritating. And the last show that I had, it died on me twice, and I had to switch them out. Actually, 3 times. And I switched it out. Luckily, I wasn't frantic, so I was able to switch it out with no problem. But it's still a fact, right? So nonetheless, go ahead and put it on top of my camera. Camera isn't on just yet. As you guys know, I will set up my screen so that you guys can see when those shots are made on the YouTube screen. So if you guys are on Facebook and you're watching me live, make sure that you go to the YouTube screen just so that way you guys can really see how that looks. Okay. Now go ahead and that one's already dead. It's already dead. So that means that I'm going to put these in and I'm going to charge these and switch them out. Alright, so I switch these out. Again, let's see what they do. It should turn on. And it's on. It's already low, by the way. It's already low. It's fine. I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to move this up to 1/32, and we're going to compensate for the light in other areas. Luckily, I will be using a prime lens, so that way it's going to give me more lighting that I need. So I should be fine. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on. Make sure I get my screen on as well. And when I say my screen, I mean my EOS utility, not webcam, utility. That way it knows that I'm doing remote shooting. Oh yeah, I do need to switch out my lens first though. So let me turn it off. I'm going to replace my kit lens with a prime lens, and we're gonna do the 35. Again, I mentioned this before in my previous lives, but I got a 35 and a 50. Now, depending, of course, which one you want, is going to determine how much cropped your picture is. I can do the 50 here, because it's still going to give me a great amount of light, or I can do the 35. Since I've been messing around with the 35 anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the 50 just for this particular test. Alright, so I'm going to clean my lens up. Boom. insert it here. Now it's going to be really close too, so this is going to be great for the bokeh. It's because of how close it's going to get me. Turn that on. Camera is recognized. Utility is coming on as well. Click remote shooting. Alright. Then this capture, we're going to make that nothing just yet because I don't need to really do anything with that just yet. But it is connected. Alright, so now, as you guys know, I'll do test shots. Let's do a test shot. Alright. Trigger's still on. Oh god. Alright, make sure this is clear. Okay, perfect. Everything is clear. So I'm gonna turn this on. Now, as I told you before, this is set to ETTL, and my flash power. Keep in mind, right now I have no diffusion inside of my softbox. But my flash power is currently set to 1/32. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my timer. Soft timer at 10. All right. Then we're gonna let this focus here, just to do the test. I don't think it's even counting down. Okay. Good, because I was like, bruh. So over here. So let me bring this back, because I feel like it's going to be really tight in there. Okay. As you guys know, I like to do a test with my extra tripod. That's going to simulate as if it's me. And as long as that is in focus, I will be in focus. And let's try that. Okay. I'll stand right here. Okay. Now we'll see what that looks like. And then I'll show you my current settings. So, we will do this right here. There we are. Okay. Now, it's great. Like, it's always great. I always say that. Like, I love how it looks when it's starting out. Now, as always, I want to make my adjustments. As you can see, obviously, that could be further up. The camera could be further up to catch my face. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move it up even more. I got to think about where I'm at on this. So I'm usually like right here. Right? Right here. Granted, this doesn't go as high up, which is fine. But I still want to make sure the camera is catching me from that angle. Alright, because I do got to put my weights on here. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we're doing this again. Bring the camera up even more. Like to go over that at least. So shut it up. And just press the button. Still no diffusion. Better. Alright, so we can see me now. You can see me real good now. Alright, now, my current settings. Okay? Current settings. You guys know I like to go ahead and give you guys my current settings so you already know what they are. Right now, it is 1/160. And I have my aperture at 4.5. My ISO is at 400. Okay? Now, of course, you guys, for those of you who are just starting out, what does that mean? 1/160 is literally shutter speed, which is gonna let me know how fast I need to capture the picture. Okay. If I do anything that's like close to like if I drop down from 160, obviously it's gonna be slower. If I go over 160, it'll be faster. All right. 4.5, the f 4.5, that's aperture. That lets you know how much light is really coming in to get the shot. So the closer I am to 1 point something, that's gonna be way more light, and it's also gonna be a little. It's also going to be. It's also going to create the depth of field. So you're going to have a blurry background, right? As long as you're focusing on what you want to focus on, too. There's also that. So it's a little tricky part when it comes to that because you get more light, but you got to make sure that you're focused on the right area to get the area that you want to be blurred out. All right. Now, the higher you get over 4.5, the closer you get to like 8.0, that will make everything more in sharpness, like you'll get it more clear, but it will also make it darker. Okay, so then you gotta compensate for the light. It's either gonna be in your shutter speed or your ISO. I'm getting better with increasing my ISO. I really hated doing it at first because it always adds grain. ISO is one that's like right now it's at 400. So if I bring the ISO up to say about 1600, it's gonna add more grain. But luckily, because I do shoot in RAW and JPEG, it is going to give me the opportunity to fix it if I'm editing a RAW picture. So luckily, I'm getting better with that again, because I don't want to sacrifice my shutter speed so much because it will create a motion blur, unless that's what I want. But that's not what we're doing today, so we're going to do something else for this evening. But I'm going to try to keep my shutter speed at a decent speed, so maybe around 1/125. 160 is not bad. I might drop it down for a little more light, but I do again like how the picture is looking so far anyway, and that's without any kind of diffusion, right? Because I could add a grid. You know what I mean? I could add a grid. I could add my white diffusion, and I got 2 white diffusions I could put in there. But I'm like, leave the picture the way that it is, and then let's mess with it. Right? Because right now I want you guys to see the bokeh. So what does that mean? How to get the bokeh? All right. So now keep in mind I got a black background. So right now it would be best if I decided to use the bokeh on, say for example, on the way I might be posing. So say I have something in my hand here, right? I'll move this back around. Something in my hand. So this, in case this will be something in my hand, and I want to make sure that the camera can see it, right? So say if I'm like a performer, a rapper or something, I can have a mic in my hand. I can be pointing it at the camera, and I want only the remote or the mic to be in focus, right? So in this case, we'll say, since I'm a photographer, I can bring my lens, right? So I can bring one of my lenses over, and I want that to be in focus, right? Now, if I were to do that, I need to make sure that obviously, since I am doing a self-portrait, I have this in place for that. I, of course, bring this up here like this, so that way you guys can see it, right? And having the same distance from the camera now. That way, when I go to set up my focus on this, it only can capture this in focus, and the rest of me should be blurred out. Now, how I can really make that stand out is, for one, making sure that I also can bring my aperture down a little more. Right now it's 4.5, so everything is going to be in focus, for the most part, right? So I can bring it down some more, just so I can see this getting more in focus, okay? So we can try it out and see what it looks like. Alright, so you guys see the softbox is being adjusted. Alright, I'm going to try something I can have here. I'm going to adjust my camera to kind of have that be the part that is in focus. So let's see. I know typically I will let you guys see the live view. Let's see if that shows up. Remote live view window. Let's see. Right here. Here we go. I know it's a lot going on, but we're going to work with it. Because I want you guys to see this. Okay? And then I'll put... So in this case, this will go behind it. Okay? So, just so you guys can get an idea. So I'm here, But I want you guys to be able to see that about to have this in focus, right? So that's in focus. Okay, right there for the most part, right? Now I can also drop down. I just dropped down shutter speed. It's a 1/125 now, and I can hold the AV button and move my shutter button down, so that way it can. You see that the more I go down, the more the background is blurred up. If I go up, the background is trying to come into focus. Trying to. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it down. Let's go down to 2.8. Alright, make sure you see that. So now if I switch, you'll be able to tell right now the background is in focus. And then now the foreground is in focus. Okay? So it should be the top of this. Alright, so now I gotta make sure that when I take this picture, that I am doing it from this exact side. So moving this over. Just like that. Just like that. So you guys see that now, right? Perfect. Like, that is awesome. Now, of course, all I would do, obviously, would be just me making sure I'm in the right area so that way you guys can see in the right, as far as right area of this image. So I'm in the middle, right? But for the most part, it's giving what it needs to give. Now, if I really wanted to make it stand out, this is where I could add the diffusion, where I could add some covering in my softbox so where it only can focus, I can have it focusing on my hand. Maybe my face doesn't need to get hit as much. So I'll add the white sheet over it, and then we're going to try that out too. I don't want to get too much diffusion, but I want to get enough to where it can give some type of effect. I want it to stand out. So, add my diffusion like this. Alright, and then we're going to push this back here again, where it's angled at me. Now I'm going to make it more angled towards, make it more angled towards this right here, alright? So that'll be me adjusting like so, okay? And then, since I know this is here, let me make sure that everything is in the middle. So that way I am not, battery's about to die on the camera. So that way I am not overcompensating for space. Okay, so let's make sure that we are smack dab in the middle. Okay, and we're going to try that out. And make sure I got the side I want you guys to see. Point it out this way. Alright, so now as you see, with the diffusion, it brought it down some. Now I want something that's more in the middle. This is great. Like, as you can see, it looks really, really good. But now what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to bring my softbox up. As always, it's the angles. It's the angles. So now that I have the picture that I'm starting off with, which is giving me a little more focus on my lens, I actually can bring the lens up further up so as I can right aligned with my face. And while I do that, I can also bring this closer. So do angles and bring this closer. So first, we'll bring it closer, and then we're going to do the angles. And that's going to be me bringing it towards over the top, like bringing the light over me. All right, let's try that. It's better. Better. Definitely want to be able to read it, but it looks better. So it's giving the look that I ultimately want. Okay. So that's how we're going to be playing around with it. Now we can move around the lighting some, so we can give it a more dramatic look. Okay. So what I'll do is I will set this back, bring this forward. Oh, hold on. Let me drop this first. Locking it means like this. Lock it in. Bring it up. Bring it over like this. Okay, and then we're going to try that out. So make sure we have this in front. Now, as you can see, the distance between the softbox and where my hand is going to be at, okay? That is literally as close as I'm wanting it to be right now, and then from there I can manipulate the settings to make it even more, to make it pop even more, right? But ideally, this is what I'm looking for. So that way, it is knowing that it's going to focus on here. I'll be in the background, but you'll just see my hand, okay? Again, we're creating a bokeh film, because if you can see from the picture that's posted, that the background of me is blurred out. And the only thing you can see is the part that's in the front, right? And that's my hand with the lens. So we'll move this over here. Okay. That's better. Okay, grab my lens, be ready. Make sure it's on the side that I want you guys to see. Push the button. That's cool. That's cool. And of course, making it sharper and all that stuff. But ideally, that's the look that I want. Like that look right there is actually pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna do it one more time. I do want to see if it can make it a little sharper for me. I don't know if because I moved a little bit. But this is what we'll do. I want it to be right here on it. So I'll move this up. And I'll move this. I can leave this where it's at. So that's the idea. So if I get this in focus, as far as this top part right here, if I get that in focus, then the camera should be in focus. Okay, because I want to make sure I'm in the same distance from it. So move you guys over just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to test that out. Hey, I'm leaving where it's at. Okay. Alright, go ahead and hit that. I think that's better. Ah, ah, ah. That's cool. That's cool. Very, very happy with that. So yes, that is. Now I'm gonna switch it up. I am gonna switch it up because I want you guys to see both sides. I want you guys to see me in focus, me blurred out. So now since the focus was obviously the lens, now I'm gonna go ahead and do it to where I'm in focus, right? And you can't, and the lens is blurred out. But that ultimately there is a look that I want you guys to see because I can read it. I can read the 35 now, and it's so cool. Like the idea, the concept that I got is it's pretty badass. But you know, we're gonna rock with it, right? This is the beauty of being able to be on here and do something like this. I can be creative with it. All right. So now I'm gonna do another one, but this time I'm gonna be the one to focus. So what am I doing with the light? I'm gonna adjust the light a little more to focus on me. right? So first I had the light focusing on my hand. Now I'm gonna have the light focusing on me. So what does it also mean? If I have the light focusing on me, and now I want to make sure the camera is focusing on me, I need to also have this here to represent me. So that way when I come in here, all I gotta do is move it over, and I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be in there. Okay? So now I do this right here like this. Alright, now I gotta remember, of course, as long as I don't move the camera, it should show my height. So I'll be right here. Okay? Then go here. And I'm gonna move this over some. So it's in the middle. Now make sure that that is sharpened because that's going to represent me. It's where I'm going to be at. Alright, and then we're going to test it out. Now, I should be in focus this time, right? And I am. For the most part. Granted, I've noticed when I do these lives, especially with some of these shots, I'm like, oh my god, it's not really in focus. And then I go back and look at it and post, and it's like, oh my god, everything was everything was in focus. So it is one of those things that comes along with it. But I'm gonna change up my look because I don't like the face that I'm making. But I'm gonna play around with this for a little bit. But ultimately, this was the idea of the bokeh, right? And again, this goes back into the type of lens that you're using. So for me, and not just for me, for most photographers, it's gonna be their prime lens that they're going to adjust to give them that bokeh look, and that's ultimately having parts of your picture to be blurred out and the other part to be in focus. And in this case, for me, I wanted to be that versatile sense so that I make sure that I can get a different type of look on each shot, right? So I'm gonna play around with it a little more, take a couple more shots, so I can get a better pose ultimately. So I'll leave this here. I'll probably put it right here, so that way I'm better in focus. Right here. I'm gonna adjust that. Make sure that it's pushed over this way. Alright, if you're just now tuning in, definitely check on the link that's in the feature link. That's gonna take you to the YouTube because it's also gonna show you the pictures I'm actually taking and how they look. So if you guys want to be able to get an eye on that, please do so. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and hit that button right quick. Boom, put me right here, just like this. That's better. That's better. Looks really nice. I look really nice. Okay. Alright, so if you guys ran through the shots that I've taken tonight, you'll see the difference of each of them. Some of them are definitely in focus. Some of them are out of focus, and that's on purpose, right? But ultimately, how we were able to adjust the softbox from not having a diffusion to having a diffusion ultimately, and being able to see how that works. And ultimately, search is changing up the angles just so that way the angles can give us a better look ultimately when it came to the picture and the focus point. So because obviously I was focusing on this on my lens, and that was gonna be the part I wanted to be sharpened. I wanted to make sure that that the light was hitting that, right? So make sure that they were hitting it at a certain point to give it a better look. Then of course, when it came down to me being in focus and me being lit up, while this was now being the blurry portion, I want to make sure that I adjusted the light to do so. So some things that I definitely have learned when it comes to doing these self-portraits is that it's all about your positioning, your distance, and the angling. And which angling in this case could also be positioning. But ultimately, it is understanding both of those, all those concepts actually help when it comes to forming your picture. And really, what you're doing is you're manipulating the light. Once you learn how to manipulate your light, you can really do a lot of amazing things with it, even if it's just one light source. Like all I've been using this whole night is one light source. I don't have multiple lights. I don't even have my color lights on today. So right now, because I had the one light source and I wanted you guys to see the bokeh, that was helping me to provide that look for you, right? So ultimately, if you guys really liked how this set up and you want to try it on your own, please do so. Definitely try it out. Let me know what you guys think. I am gonna maybe do some more shots. Probably not, but I think there is some content that I do want to do right quick, so I'll do that before I close off for the night. But ultimately, I want you guys to give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. If this was something that was very helpful for you, I will be coming back on next week. Not sure what I'm gonna do just yet, but I will definitely be having an idea of what's gonna be talked about next week. So definitely tune back in every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time here on YouTube as well as on Facebook. I will do better. I promise to do better to announce these on my pages before the time comes, like a day before, so I can get in the habit of doing that. So I'm gonna make sure I do that so you guys can be aware. But ultimately, this was great. I'm really loving how everything went. It didn't take me much to set up and to get in here and to talk to you guys, and all of my footage and everything is really coming in as it's supposed to. So I'm happy. I'm happy. So thank you guys again, and I'll check you guys on the next one.